So, let's talk Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi. So, yeah, this movie came out. Boy, this movie came out, yeah. I have pretty mixed feelings about this movie. I've always been a big Star Wars fan ever since I first saw Star Wars A New Hope on VHS when I was, probably before I was 10. And it's always been a big part of my life. I saw The Phantom Menace in theaters in 1999. I saw all the prequel trilogy in theaters. And you know what? I liked it. I'll acknowledge, of course, that they're not the best Star Wars films, but I still like them. And I still like them to this day. I acknowledge that they have a lot of faults, but they do a lot of things right too. I saw The Force Awakens in theaters. I thought it was really good. I already made a video before the movie came out saying some of the things I was afraid of happening, and so I was expecting to not be totally satisfied going into this movie. And some of those things were exactly how I thought they were going to be, but not in the way I thought it was going to be at all. And then other things I hadn't really thought about. I wasn't really spending too much time speculating on what was going to happen in this movie. So I was surprised by quite a few things. Well, not surprised. I was not expecting some of the things to happen that happened. In general, I thought this was a good movie. I'm still on I'm still trying to figure out if it's a good Star Wars movie. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with the direction Rian Johnson took this film, and is taking this franchise. And yeah, I'll get into that later. I'm not. Yeah, it's I've seen it twice now, and I still feel like I don't have a definitive opinion on whether this is a good Star Wars movie or not. So let's get to talking about that. One of the first things I can say about this movie, and then just to warn anybody watching, this is a full spoiler talk. I'm not holding back at all. And I'm not apologizing for that either. The first thing about this movie is, it can kind of be summed up in the way Luke takes the lightsaber from Rey and just tosses it over his shoulder. And, that's Rian Johnson basically does. He takes everything J.J. Abrams gave him in The Force Awakens and just sort of tosses it over his shoulder. He doesn't really care about the things that J.J. Abrams set up. And that was one of my criticisms and worries about The Last Jedi. Criticisms about The Force Awakens and my worries about The Last Jedi is that The Force Awakens had too many of these mysteries, and in some ways The Last Jedi kind of gets rid of those things, but it doesn't really do it in a satisfying way. The first of all, okay, Rey's parentage. Turns out it's nothing special. Nobody. Now, I'm not. I know that some people immediately said, "Oh, well, maybe that's not strictly true because of Kylo Ren." I think it's pretty clear from especially watching it the second time that's the case. Rey's the one who says it, and I think already Rian Johnson has come out and said that's, at least as far as he's concerned, that's the case of what is actually true. It's not a deception. And I think that it would really be weird if they changed that. So I'm going to go forward as believing that that's the truth. She really is nobody, and her parents are nobody. The problem with that is that's not what The Force Awakens set up. And in terms of it being significant. Now, I get all the things about that Rian Johnson was saying, he's been saying in interviews since the movie came out about how that was important to Rey's character, but I don't think it worked story-wise. You know, you set up this whole mystery of where she came from. You know, she was left on that planet. Why is this important? Why is she connected to Luke? What is the connection to the lightsaber? None of it matters. None. Nothing. Basically, it. Yeah, none of it mattered. What else can you say about that? The thing is, I think if they were going to go down this path of having Rey parents turn out to be nobody important, or even just nobody, like it's not even a thing. Like, I think that's a thing where a lot of the sites I'm saying I have either the opinion that like yes, this is the best decision ever, or no, this was terrible. Is the people who are assuming this is the best decision ever and are criticizing the fans who are mad about it, they're assuming that the fans wanted Rey's parents to be important. It's not just that. It's because there are people who think that, you know, Rey's parents could have turned out to be just people we never met before. And that would be okay, but they still need to have some place in the universe. Like maybe they were... or it's not even just about her parents. It's about her place in the story. Like, I know I saw theories where it would turn out that Rey was an early pupil at the academy that Luke had, and that, you know, Rey, that Kylo Ren, you know, didn't kill her for some reason. And it's like, it's to me, it's like they took the least interesting route. I know they think it was the most interesting route if it turns out that she's nobody important, but to me, it's the least interesting route because if you think about it, what questions are you asking after learning that? Like, compare it to finding out that Vader is Luke's father at the end of Empire. There are so many questions that are raised because of that. How did this come to be? You know, what does this mean for the future? And then that sets up the conflict between Luke and Vader in Return of the Jedi. What is set up by us learning that Rey is nobody? I get that it's important to a character, but what is it set up story-wise? Nothing. Nothing is set up. Okay, you know, you led us to believe it was something important in The Force Awakens, and now throw it over your shoulder, reveal that it's no, nothing important here, nothing to see here. What does that lead to in Episode 9? Nothing. There's nothing to go on to that. Episode 9, you know, you could say all you want about how this is great for her character and how, you know, this builds her up as on her own. She's not, you know, the child of somebody. She's not important because she's the child of someone. But it just still leads to the fact that story-wise, this does nothing for Episode 9. There's nowhere to go with that. And here's the thing. I think if they were going to do the route of that, it turns out she's nobody, they should have done that in The Force Awakens. There was no reason other than maybe the time-wise, not to put that in The Force Awakens and to have it in The Last Jedi. You could have easily put it, if you could have, well, okay, there's arguments about whether it could have fit or not, but I think if you had put it in The Force Awakens, nobody would care, because we would have been introduced to Rey, and in the same movie find out she's nobody. Which is exactly what I think she says in The Force Awakens. She says that she's nobody. And then in The Last Jedi, she says she's nobody. And then we find out she's nobody. Okay. Now let's talk about Snoke. Okay. Was not the biggest fan of Snoke in The Force Awakens. I thought it's just another... I don't know, like I didn't even have any big thoughts or theories on who Snoke was. I didn't have any opinions about whether Snoke being Plagueis was good or bad. I wasn't really for it because that's kind of... I didn't really like that theory that much, but I didn't really care if that was going to be the case. I just didn't really think it was probably. And The Force Awakens in The Force Awakens, it's not just that he's set up as an important character. He specifically says he saw, I can't remember the exact line. He says that he saw the Empire rise and fall. You know? So we know this character's been around. He didn't just come from nowhere and is just conquering like some outside invader. he actually witnessed some of the events in some form. They deliberately gave him a design that's, specifically meant to make people ask questions like, who is this guy? He's a big CGI character. He's got the scarred face. He looks like he's got half his jaw missing. He's got the big scar in the forehead, which led to so many people speculating. Which, I hate the attitude that, like, oh well, fans brought it on themselves because they were the ones who were speculating. Because the thing is that they made the design on purpose. Snoke has a big thing in his forehead like this. You got to know that every time somebody character gets hurt or something, people are speculating, going back, seeing if there's any character that might have this scar that would match up. And what does it turn out that Snoke is? Who knows? He's not important. And again, I'll go back to the quotes I saw on Rian Johnson. I get it. I get why you did it. It doesn't make it a good choice. Because why, okay, because the thing is, I don't think I've seen anyone else talk about this too much, but after seeing what they did with the character of Snoke in The Last Jedi, why was this a CGI character? I think if you had Andy Serkis, no makeup, just the way he is, it would have had the same amount of impact. You can't build up a character like that. If you have a character that would normally be just an actor, and you put it into CGI and he's maybe slightly an alien, or I don't think even that's really clear. I mean, I don't think he's human, because the proportions you see of him in The Last Jedi versus Rey are not quite human, plus his hands look a little weird. But what's the deal with that? It's kind of wasted potential, they kind of just threw it away. So, I'm not even really that upset that not the Emperor Snoke is dead, because I don't really care about the character, but it just seems like a total waste. Like, I did not need this character in The Force Awakens then. You could have started The Force Awakens with Kylo Ren being in charge. Because what they did with Snoke and The Last Jedi means, like, you wasted my time with that character. That character didn't need to be around. He says at the end of The Force Awakens, I'm going to you need to complete your training to Kylo Ren. Nothing. Thrown away. I'm going to do that a lot, because that's everything with this movie. Which makes it sound like, okay, you might think I really hate this movie from the way I talk about it, but this movie is done really well. The special effects, and the acting. Okay, so let's go back. Let's get to one of the things that's been very divisive about this movie, and that's the portrayal of Luke. Okay, so I'll say this. I don't especially like the direction they took with Luke, but I think they did a really good job at what they did. Mark Hamill, even as a bitter old Luke Skywalker, is Luke Skywalker. And I think all the scenes with Luke and Rey are really good. And then they keep cutting back to Battlestar Galactica. Which is something, okay, the whole plot with the Resistance running away from the Empire in a very short time frame, and it turns into an episode of Battlestar Galactica. I thought it was all okay. It was well done. It was good. A very good episode of Star Wars Rebels. I don't know why it was in episode 8, because it did not belong there. I understand they wanted something for the other characters to do, but no, I enjoyed watching it, but at the same time, going back and rewatching it, it's like, why is this in here? This doesn't fit. They should have figured something else out to do. The idea that the First Order destroyed the New Republic at the end of The Force Awakens is just stupid to me. I don't know how people think this is like making it a new Star Wars, very all new, different, and he's changing things. If literally it was somewhat back to the basics in The Force Awakens, with the First Order is the Empire, and the resistance is the rebels. This takes it all the way. Like it's, it could have been still somewhat unclear what happened at the end of The Force Awakens, because it is somewhat unclear to me at the end. We see some planets destroyed. Maybe somebody says a line about how they just blew up the Republic, but nothing's clear about exactly what happened or what that means for the future. The Last Jedi makes it very clear that the Republic's gone for some reason. Apparently, all it takes is blowing up a couple planets, and that's it. Now, here's the thing: it's not just the way it was. It's not just the fact that they say that; it's the way it's done. I think you could have done that storyline. Here's what I would have preferred. I would have preferred if they had said along the lines, not that the New Republic is destroyed, but that the New Republic is in complete disarray. That nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what to do. There's nobody in control. Would have had the same movie. Could have had the same exact plot. Same things happen. And instead of just saying the line about our allies in the Outer Rim, say about, your allies in the Republic. And say that nobody is willing to take a stand. Have a saying that like some people are just joining, not joining, but submitting to the new order. Saying that saying like, okay, well they win, they blew up that planet. That's not what I would. I don't think that's the best way to have continued the story, but that would have been an easy way to have gone in the same direction they went, but do it better. At least in my opinion. When it comes to Luke Skywalker, one of the things I agree on that I've seen a lot of people say is they don't like the moment where Luke turned out in the past where he lit up the lightsaber to kill Kylo Ren. And I would agree that doesn't really seem in character for Luke, for the guy who never gave up on Vader to suddenly have this instinct to kill Kylo Ren. I mean, Ben Solo, same person, doesn't matter. That doesn't seem really like Luke, but on a bigger scale, story-wise, it makes everything that happened it was all just a big misunderstanding, which is kind of lame. It's not really because of somebody manipulating the characters. It's not because of characters making decisions. It's because is this a sitcom? It was all a big misunderstanding. And that's also what happens with the Resistance and Poe Dameron and Holdo. Basically everything they do doesn't work out, and Poe basically goes against Holdo's plan because it was all just a big misunderstanding, which no. That's not good. That's just no. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going to have to edit this, and this is going to be a crazy long thing. I think I said most of the things I wanted to say about the movie right now. If you have some thoughts, I'd love to hear back from you. If you could just comment below. If you want to see more of these, there's somewhere around, maybe click on something. I don't know how often I'm going to do these Let's Talk videos, because really it just depends on when I see the movies. I don't have any weekly things set up right now. This channel is still kind of growing. So yeah, see you around.